Here with Bob Mitcheltree, ABCA Division II Assistant Coach of the Year, Slippery Rock. I think heading into 20th season at Slippery Rock, but 40 plus years in the coaching profession and 25-year continuous member of the ABCA. So, Bob, thanks for jumping on with me.
Thank you for having me.
Did I get that right? 20 years at Slippery Rock?
Yeah, this season will be number 20.
Okay, awesome. Tell your SID thank you because that's where I get the info off. So it's good
I'll
when
do that.
they have it up to date. I mean, what does this mean to you?
It means a lot. It's kind of a tribute to all assistant coaches that, you can be recognized. And, I really feel humbled by receiving the award.
What has the Messer family meant to you?
I kind of feel like I'm part of their family. Jeff, Billy, I feel honored to be able to coach with a head coach who's won over 1,000 games. He's going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame in January. Billy's associate head coach, and we just have a lot of fun. We try to win a lot of games and have a lot of fun in the process.
And you were there for a little bit, and then you took a little bit of a break. What took you away from Slippery Rock?
Well, I was a teacher. I'm retired now, and I took a break because I went back to the high school to kind of build up my retirement. And then as soon as I retired from high school, then I came back to Slippery Rock.
Smart man. I mean, how many years did you have to get in to be able to retire?
I taught 37 years.
How are the benefits in Pennsylvania?
They're pretty good. I'm doing okay. I'm hanging in there with it.
You know, you guys had a great spring. Saw that you used 14 arms this spring, which, that probably about average for most college teams. But how were you able to keep all those guys healthy this spring?
It's always tough. I'm not the pitching coach. I work with the catchers, but we had some guys that had a few problems, but we managed to get the job done and win 33 games.
How many catchers did you guys rotate through this spring?
This spring right now we have 4.
Yep. Is that average for you guys?
Yeah, pretty much 3, 4, 5. And then every once in a while you have a catcher that's also plays another position.
Yeah. And it looked like Ricky Mineo, Ethan Edkins looked like they had quite a few starts for you guys, but then you also used those guys in relief appearance a couple times.
Yeah.
What allowed you guys? I mean, when you're mapping that out for those guys, they are starters. When did you use those guys in relief?
Usually like in the playoffs, because you go from 7 games all season to 9 innings, from 7 innings to 9 innings. So usually it's in that scenario there.
I mean, you had a 3-to-1 strikeout ratio almost. I mean, what do you attribute that to with your pitching staff?
A good catcher calling pitches.
So you let your catchers call the game?
Yeah. Yeah, we did last year. Yeah, we had a really, really good catcher, Connor Hamilton. He was a real stud, and he had a good baseball mind. So he called the pitches, but it varies on who the catcher is.
Yeah. What year was he?
A senior.
He was a senior.
Yeah. He graduated.
You got young guys catching this year?
Yeah, we have a transfer that came in from Old Dominion, and he looks to be in the forefront right now. And and we have another catcher who I believe is a senior, and then we have a couple younger guys.
Your Old Dominion transfer, is he a PA kid?
No, I'm not really sure where he's from. I'm not sure.
I can look it up. We'll get that. So when you're talking about pitch calling with these guys, what are kind of the main points when you're going through pitch calling with your catchers?
Just having a feel for the game and knowing what pitches that day are working the best, and just kind of keeping a mental notebook, on the hitters, and just kind of assuming that you're at the plate, what would you be expecting, and try to go the opposite way.
You guys let pitchers shake off?
Yeah, they're allowed to shake.
Yeah, which
Yeah,
I think it's the best way to do that for guys, to give them ownership.
right.
Some guys don't want that though. I mean that's a feel thing too with your guys, is like who actually wants that responsibility, and maybe sometimes guys do want that, and that's an experience thing too as they get older, but sometimes guys don't want that responsibility.
Yeah, right. And there's some pitching coaches that don't allow them to shake.
Yes. We see all kinds of it, and that's a little bit of an ego thing too. You talk to different guys, they have there's a lot of different ways to do it, and I think that's the unique thing with baseball, is that we do have successful programs that let their pitchers and catchers run it, and then we have really successful programs where the pitching coach calls every pitch. So it really is what's best for your program.
Right.
Didn't give up a lot of stolen bases, 32 of 40 stolen bases. What do you attribute that to? A senior catcher having a good arm?
Yeah, he had a really good arm. Plus, excuse me, holding the runners. You know, we work hard on the pitchers. You know, holding runners.
When are they working on holding runners?
During practice, we have a segment where we work on pitchers holding runners and catchers throwing. Excuse me.
How are you handling the fall? You've coached football for 40 plus years, and you're getting ready to go to Slippery Rock's practice. So how are you handling that?
Well, I'm getting up there. I'm 74 years old. It's not real easy anymore, but on Tuesday and Thursdays, I come to Slippery Rock and I work with the catchers. And then I hurry home. I live a half hour away. Hurry home, grab a sandwich, and I go to football practice. So it's not every day of the week, but Tuesday and Thursdays are kind of rough.
Yeah, you don't know any different now. You've been doing it forever.
Yeah, it's routine.
When I think of Pennsylvania football, I think about the movie All the Right Moves
Yeah, right.
with Tom Cruise. For anybody that hasn't seen it, the young coaches listening probably don't even know what that movie is. But Randall Cunningham was the quarterback in that movie. But great movie about Pennsylvania football, basically, and the steel mills. I just
Yeah,
think it's a good storyline of Pennsylvania itself and the blue collar mentality that the state of Pennsylvania has.
yeah. Pennsylvania football is pretty good, and we've been real successful where I coach. We've won a state championship. We've been a runner-up in the state, I think, 4 times. Won numerous district championships. We're having a down year this year, though. We only have a couple seniors, and right now we're 3-3. We have 3 tough games coming up, so we're down a little bit this year.
How large is your high school?
We're class double A. There's 6 classifications, and we're double A.
I mean, what have you brought from the football side to the baseball side of coaching?
Uh, Probably organizational. You have to be organized when you run your practices. Uh, I don't know if I really brought a whole lot. A catcher's mentality is really kind of like a football player in a way. I tell our catchers, we expect you to be like a quarterback running the show, and also you're in the trenches blocking and everything. So it's kind of a combination of being a quarterback and a lineman.
How are you handling blocking drills with your guys?
We do a lot of different things. A lot of coaches tell them to be a wall back there. I tell them you don't want to be a wall, you want to be a pillow. If you bounce a ball off a wall, it goes quite a ways. If you bounce it off a pillow, it stays right there. So I think the key is, to relax the best you can and try to be a pillow and not be all tensed up and stiff like a wall.
Yeah, soft belly, correct? I mean, you
Correct.
want them to soften up. You're absorbing the baseball, basically, round out the shoulders and try to absorb the ball as best you can.
Exactly. Yep.
Try to get the ball to land as close to home plate as you can.
Right.
Anything else you're working on those guys with blocking and receiving that you like?
Yeah, we do. I have what I call a multi-ball receiving drill. I have every ball you can think of in a 5-gallon bucket. Golf balls, tennis balls, you name it. Even birdies for badminton, and I just keep firing them out at them. And for receiving,
Glove on or glove off with that?
glove off.
Yeah. Glove off.
Then we do. They're not really frisbees. They're plastic disc like with a hole, and I throw them it's like a right-handed curveball and then a left-handed curveball. Uh, I even have a rock that I use. It's real smooth, and I fire that in there so they have to stick it. And I tell them if they happen to miss one, don't worry because it's a slippery rock.
Love it. Love it. I mean, what do you feel like's changed with coaching over the years?
Uh, I think a lot of kids anymore feel kind of entitled. Uh, uh, they just feel like you owe them the opportunity to play. But I think overall, I don't really think it's changed that much.
You're probably not dealing with it as much though with Pennsylvania kids. I mean, your roster is what 90% Pennsylvania kids in it. Just looking through it.
Yeah, we have quite a few kids from Pennsylvania. Yeah.
Yeah, I coached at James Madison for 4 years from 99 to '03, and we had some really good players from Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania kids remind me of Midwest kids. It's the same type of mentality, blue collar mentality. You knew they were going to show up and work every day. It was fun to coach kids like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Working with the catchers here, I mean, they have a really good work ethic. They do whatever you ask them to do. And uh, it's really a lot of fun working with them.
So when you get back from winter break, you guys are inside, correct?
Correct. Yep.
So how are you handling indoor practices with your guys?
We kind of work in shifts because our indoor place isn't real big. It's kind of like different shifts when guys come in. Uh, Most of the catchers work then is catching bullpens, uh, that kind of thing.
How do you know if their legs are ready when they get back?
Uh, you can tell right away by their facial expressions when they're doing things.
You know, what are you having those guys do arms wise, your catchers throwing over the break to get ready for the season?
Well, Billy Messer sets up a program, excuse me, for the pitchers and the hitters, for everyone. Um, Probably aren't doing a whole lot of throwing. I mean, there's something to be said about resting your arm too.
Yep. Who do you feel like's had the most impact on you as an assistant?
Um, probably Jeff Messer. Uh, you know, he, Jeff's a class act, and, he's the kind of coach where if you win or lose, you're still going to go eat. Okay. I mean, he's the same if you win a big game or if you happen to lose a game, that temperament.
I think that's a common theme with our ABCA Hall of Famers. I really do. It seems like those guys have all been pretty even keeled with how they've handled their players. When you look at I've done so many of those interviews now with the ABCA Hall of Fame guys that just seems like that's a common theme with those better coaches, that they can stay even keeled no matter what's going on.
Yeah. If I had a catcher throw three in a row out in center field, he's not going to jump over me about it. You know what I mean?
Did
He doesn't put blame on anybody,
Did you know you were going to coach coming out of Youngstown State?
Yeah, my goal was to be an elementary school teacher and to be a head baseball coach and to be a assistant football coach. And it just worked out that way. Right off the bat, I got a job and I was elementary school teacher, assistant football coach, and head baseball coach. So everything worked just like I had planned. I never really wanted to be a head football coach, but I did want to be a head baseball coach. And I was fortunate enough in 1981, our team won the state championship in Pennsylvania.
So how did Jeff get you to Slippery Rock then?
Well, I was coaching in the summer over in Youngstown, Ohio, in a league, and Jeff would come to a lot of the games to scout players, and we made a relationship there. And then he kept wanting me to come then I worked at his summer baseball camp, and he wanted me to be the pitching coach at that time. And then he even took me to Florida on some trips, and I wasn't even coaching yet. And then eventually I started coaching at Slippery Rock.
Did it take much convincing for you to do it?
Not a whole lot. No.
And those Florida trips will do it.
Yeah.
And once you get around the college guys, it's like, okay, this is fun.
Yeah. My oldest son was playing high school where I was coaching, and I wanted to see him through also.
How was it coaching your son?
Has his ups and downs. I coached him in football too. He was a first team All State tight end in football, and then I have a younger son that played also, and it was tougher coaching my younger son than my older son. But there's good times and there's times that maybe aren't so good. You know,
What are your football responsibilities, coaching wise?
I coach wide receivers, help with defensive ends, and have a lot to do with the special teams.
So you get a little hand in everything there.
Yeah.
I mean, what sticks out? I know it's a newer generation of kids, but we still have competitive kids. What do you think sticks out about competitive kids now?
Um, that's a tough question. I don't really know how to. Can you rephrase that
I mean,
somehow?
are you seeing? Are you still seeing? I know it's changed a lot, but are you seeing differences now with kids? I mean, from a competitive standpoint, but I mean, we still have kids competing. It's just maybe different now.
Yeah, what I'm seeing is less and less kids are coming out for football. We have probably the lowest number ever in my 46 years of coaching, and there's just a lot of other sports now in the fall that the kids are playing, and I think a lot of it has to do. Parents are concerned about concussions, but our numbers every year now have been dropping, and right now we have several kids injured, and we do have long practices too. And high school football has become a year-round commitment anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just we play our season and then we have a couple of weeks off winter weightlifting, and then in the spring, if you're not playing baseball or track, you continue to lift, and you have summer workouts. And I don't think a lot of kids don't want to put that kind of time in.
Yep.
It's a huge commitment.
You said it was tougher coaching your second one. What was harder about coaching your second one than your first one?
Well, my second son, to be honest with you, didn't have the ability
Yep.
that my oldest son had, and people would, kind of compare the two, and there was a lot of pressure on him because his older brother was, well, like I said, first team All State, uh, made every All Star team that there was, and his temperament wasn't the best in the world either. Matter of fact, there was another assistant coach who kind of took care of him. So I didn't have to deal with it. But and he'd get frustrated, like if he would fumble or something, and it's always
Yeah, you want
tough.
the second one to be better, don't you? Like if you could map it out, you want the second one to be better than the first one, don't you?
Yeah, he was always living in his older brother's shadows, and people expected him to be like his brother. And I mean, he worked hard and tried, but he just didn't have the ability that his older brother had.
For maybe a youth parent that's going through it for the first time, having to coach their kid, what are some tips for the parents right now having to deal with coaching their kid?
Uh, the best thing is to have another coach
Yes.
step in, when there's some type of a problem, and kind of keep you out of it, because it's tough, because at, at practice, you're his coach, but at home you're his dad. And
It's hard
it's
to
easy,
separate.
it's easy for a dad to separate it, but for a kid, like if you jump on him at practice, you got to go home and eat dinner, and he's probably not going to talk to you too much.
Yeah, for sure. So who was your favorite coach then growing up?
Uh, my high school football coach is really the reason why I wanted to become a coach. I played when the program first started, and my 3 years of varsity, we won 24 games in a row. And my head coach, it was tough back in those days. I mean, there was no messing around, but because of him, his influence, that's why I really wanted to become a coach. And he's in a nursing home right now, and I go see him, once a week religiously. I go see him, and he still mentors me to this day as far as coaching goes.
What are some of his tips to you?
Uh, he thinks we practice way too long for one thing, and uh, we just talk about, because he was the head football coach at Wilmington. Then he went to Westminster College, and he won 3 or 4 national championships there. And we just talked mainly about how the game has changed, how kids have changed, that sort of thing.
Did he nudge you to go to Youngstown then?
Pardon me?
Was he the one that nudged you to go to Youngstown to go to school?
No, I was fortunate to get a scholarship there for baseball, and they just started baseball my senior year in high school, so I could only play 1 year of high school baseball. But no, he didn't really influence me to go to Youngstown State.
So,
That was a
so
baseball
what'd
deal.
you do before senior year of high school then for baseball?
Well, I played American Legion baseball. I played Pony League, Little League, but couldn't play high school in my senior year.
So how'd Youngstown see you then? They see you in Legion ball?
No, I just basically, tried out for the team, and then eventually got some scholarship money.
If you could go back and tell your 25-year-old coaching self something, what would you tell him?
I would tell them that if you keep working hard and if you keep at it, and I've had some health issues lately, and kind of fighting that a little bit. But if you just persevere, good things will happen.
Do you have a fail forward moment? Do you have something you thought was going to sidetrack you, but looking back now was one of the best things that happened to you?
I really can't think of anything. Uh, I did take a couple years off of football, then got right back into it. I mean, my whole life's been baseball, football. I don't know any other way. Uh, my goal is to go 50 years of each, and I've got 4 more years to go,
That's
and
awesome.
I don't know how many coaches have coached 2 sports for 50 years. And I have a grandson who's in 8th grade. Uh, they had a game yesterday. He had 3 touchdowns in that game. I
There
hope to
can't be
coach
too
him.
many guys that have coached their grandkids.
Uh, I don't know.
I'd have to do some digging on that. I can't imagine there's been that many guys that have been fortunate enough to coach their grandkids.
Yeah, the nice thing is when I reach 50 years, it'll be his senior year. And, I'm going to go back to the high school after this year and coach baseball so I can see him play. And I might as well help coach the team. It's the same school that we won the state championship at. So it's going to work out pretty neat. I'll have 50 years of both in, and he'll be graduating. Then I'm going to retire.
That's beautiful. What type of health stuff are you going through right now?
Cancer.
Cancer. You
Yeah.
getting through treatments?
Not recently. I've had radiation 5 different times. Every 4 months, I go and get a bone scan, CAT scan, and you know, hopefully it stays contained. It has spread a couple times, but
Where's it at?
well, it started in my prostate, and it worked itself. I had a tumor taken off my back. I have rods and screws holding my back together. Um, so that's basically, it's every 4 months you just cross your fingers that when you get the scans done that it's stayed contained and hasn't spread anywhere.
Yeah. Well, is that just a general prostate exam? They caught it?
Yeah, I was having some trouble when I went and they found I had cancer there, and then I had seeds implanted, and about it.
So, I mean, so just general, just trying to maintain, they tell you anything to try to help, obviously, besides radiation. Did they give you any tips as far as nutrition or anything else to try to help?
Well, I take hormone pills, and I get a hormone shot every so many months to try to keep the prostate from, working real hard.
How have you been able to balance family then? I know your kids are older now, but how are you able to balance doing football, baseball, and family?
Well, my wife's a gem, to put it mildly. I've coached with a lot of guys who coach a couple years and they quit, and the main reason was because of her wife, not wife will say, "You're not making much money. You're hardly making any money putting all that time in, you know." So they end up quitting. My wife, she's just the opposite. I always felt that any coach who gets an award for anything, his wife's name should be on there too.
Yeah, because they make it work. You know, if you don't have the right one, it's really hard because you
Yeah.
get pulled in a lot of different directions. So you need somebody that's going to be there and understands that's your calling too. You know, I know the monetary piece isn't there, but the other parts of that are so gratifying that you can't put a price tag on coaching. You just can't. And I think that's what gets lost in the shuffle now with this society of people now is they don't understand that you reap rewards way beyond monetary value that a lot of people don't get.
Right. Yeah, the relationships you develop with, players is really something else. Um, in high school, you get invited to graduation parties, and at the college level, you get invited to weddings.
Yep.
It's pretty much it.
Having a grandson, did that change your life view at all?
Uh, Not really. I spent a lot of extra time with him, doing football drills and baseball drills. But it's a lot of fun. It really is.
I mean, what has the ABCA meant to you?
Oh, it means a lot. I mean, it's a great organization, great people. I've gone to numerous conventions, learned a lot. Uh, I think it's just absolutely great.
When was your first convention?
Oh boy, I can't remember exactly the year, but I think it was in Nashville. So my first one will be in Nashville, and probably my last one will be in Nashville.
Do you have a favorite? Do you have a favorite convention story?
Convention story. Uh, well, yeah, I guess it happened in Nashville because of my prostate problems. Running water makes me have to go. And in Nashville, there's all these big fountains and water. And uh, one time, Bill and I were heading to our room and had to go past all these fountains, and I just barely made it in the room.
Do you have any presentations that have stuck out over the years that you've liked?
Uh, Probably Tom Griffin catching. I think he's really excellent. I think he's top-notch catching instructor.
Yeah, we have so many good catching instructors. They're that side of the coaching industry is really pushed things forward. We have great catching instructors at every level of baseball now. It's awesome.
Right.
What are some final thoughts? Something I should have asked you that I didn't.
Uh, can't really think of anything. I got to get going here to practice here in a couple minutes. I just like to thank you for having me on your podcast. I really appreciate it. Anybody I've ever met affiliated with the ABCA is top notch, quality people. Uh, I'd like to thank the ABCA for this award. I'm very humbled about it, and can't wait to get to Nashville.
Yeah, it'll be great to see you. So thanks so much for jumping on with me, Bob.
Thank you. I appreciate it.